What are some study tips for high school students who are struggling and want to improve? Study in short bursts. I remember a psych prof in college saying it's been proven that after 20-30 minutes of studying your brain starts to retain less and less information. So study for 20-30 minutes. Take a quick 10-minute break, then go back to studying. Don't procrastinate or take a break before doing your work. The second you get assigned homework, start it immediately after school. This one might be obvious, but it's something that helps me out. This is not exactly a study tip, but if you don't understand anything, no matter how stupid, never shy away from asking a teacher. Just to add on a little bit, don't ever get home and start to play a video game or watch some TV. You'll never get to starting your work. I did this a lot when I was in high school, and you'll see your grades slip. If you use flashcards, start with 2 or 3 and slowly add in more to the deck once you've mastered a few. I used to think flashcards didn't work because I'd sit there with a deck of 50 wondering why I couldn't remember any when I got back to the beginning. Maybe this is obvious for some people, but was a life-changing moment for me when a high school teacher recommended, like, oh, duh. I did the opposite. Start with 50 cards on random shuffle and narrow the deck little by little as I started to remember them. It minimized time spent studying easy cards. Then again, I studied mostly history and language, and that tends to be very interconnected. You learn stuff just by getting one wrong and reading the explanation. A change of scenery does wonders. No matter how amazing your desk at home is, studying in the library is way more productive due to social pressure and your brain knowing that you're here to study. Nah, the library is full of people and I can't study with people around. It gets too noisy there and I just don't like it. When I'm trying to learn something, I pretend that I am teaching someone, and for some reason this helps. Write notes down. There's something about reading notes written down by yourself and it stays longer in your memory. Treat it like a job. Hit the books Monday through Friday 9-5. Work in the library, not your room or apartment. Don't miss a class. Work ahead during that 40 hours. This method worked wonders for me and I never had to stay up late trying to cram stuff. When I'm trying to learn something, I pretend that I am teaching someone, and for some reason this helps. It's because to teach someone, you actually have to have an understanding of the material and it makes you think about it rather than vaguely remembering that one fact. It's the same principle as rubber ducking for programming. Don't study in your bed. Go somewhere else to study: desk, library, school. And don't be afraid to ask your teacher or academic counselor what they think you should do. Most teachers are always willing to help students who show they care. I like studying in a library because it helps me associate the two in my head. Library equals studying. Let's get crap done. Being around others that are studying also helps guilt me into being more focused. I learned from my experience that studying for hours doesn't mean anything if I'm not taking in stuff and really understanding things enough to the point I could explain it or describe it within some other example cases problems. So ideally finding the best way you learn, and then sticking to it. Do you like to rephrase things to understand it, or draw it out, or other visual aids? Maybe saying what you think is important out loud is the way to go. Many options, but sticking by one or a few that suits you best and gradually working out how to improve that process is probably a really efficient way to study than or reading everything and then trying to memorizing things over and over again for a long period of time. The same goes for learning instruments. Hours of mindless playing is way less productive than a short time of really focused study. Find out how you learn best. I learn by writing. So rewriting, distilling my notes was the best way for me to study for a test. You might need flashcards, or a study buddy to talk through tough concepts, or record lectures to listen to later. No use studying in a way your brain doesn't process. Learn how you learn and do it. Take breaks while studying. No monster 5-hour cramming sessions. I needed a break every 45 minutes or so. Walk around, do push-ups, or squats, or yoga, for 5 minutes, then back to the books. Breaks help decrease the monotony, and give you something to look forward to. Have a trusted friend, elder, or teacher read your essays before submission. Seriously, another set of eyes can do wonders for coherence, flow, and thinking through concepts. This leads into: make a plan. No more last minute shenanigans. Write down due dates and work backwards, leaving yourself enough time to chip away at projects, papers, and studying. Talk to your teachers in those tough classes. They may be seeing you struggle and want to help, so reach out. Use whatever tutoring services are available at your school, even peers, and get the help you need. Sleep. Again, sleep. In high school your brain is still developing. You need sleep to process all you are learning. 8 hours or more is recommended at your age. I know it sucks, but clean up your sleep hygiene. Stick with roughly the same bedtime, and no screen time for at least an hour before bed. Exercise doesn't need to be extravagant, but make it part of your self-care routine. You can vent frustration, and it will help with sleep. Factor in time for fun. Just because you now have a kick-butt study plan doesn't mean you have no life. Long-term success means enjoying what you can, when you can. Make time for friends, family, pets, etc. Sleep, exercise, and recreation. 110%. Break the work down into smaller amounts. Make note cards or outlines. Rewriting the work can help you remember. It also can highlight brief facts that are easier to remember versus large paragraphs. Read it out loud. Find someone to study with. The people you study with don't even need to be studying the same thing. It helps get you into the mood and be accountable regardless. And if they're not studying the same thing, it gives you someone to use the teaching method on. Study at the library or a coffee shop instead of at home. If you can afford it, get a cheap second laptop that is only for school. Do not install any programs other than what you need for your classes. Only use the laptop for school. Only do schoolwork on that laptop. These two things saved me. Go to a library. The environment should help you focus. Limit the electronic devices. Break up the studying into segments. So for second language classes, Duolingo is a lifesaver. It makes casual study much easier. Also, Khan Academy is an excellent tool that I strongly encourage you use. Learn to plan. Like, really, once you get the hang of it you almost think, why didn't I do this sooner? Know what you got to learn. Get the hang of how long it takes you to study, and make a clear planning from beginning to end. Every subject, everything you need to learn. Set out a complete day. I'm serious. Planning is hard, but it saves stress, thinking, and lets you focus. You have to find out what you need to study for the entire year, for every subject. Find out when exams are and plan study sessions accordingly. Once you understand how much time is left, you'll enjoy life a lot more. You'll never feel guilty for not studying, because you exactly know what to do. Don't wait for announcements. Don't do it by semester. Every single day. If you need help, I'll even help you. I just don't want you to feel guilty for not studying, stressful for what might come, or think you might not make it. Discipline is hard, but once you do it, you can't stop, as the effort pales to the benefits. High school is one of your best times and you should enjoy it accordingly. Having your planner, you'll always enjoy the stuff available, as you know that specific time is for having fun. Don't be so pressured. It's not as important as you think. Failing only means there are better paths for you to take. What's important is focusing on finding what you really want to do, and that pressure will kill your mind off at exam. For legitimate study tips though, depending on your course, try to understand and analyze the key concept and methodology of solving problem instead of memorizing blindly. Understand why this method is used instead and exercise it with your newly found analysis result and understanding. Little and often. 4-hour chunks. Not only do you remember information better if you revise notes, read textbooks, but doing it this way is less daunting and helps to build good habits. Combine this with the fact that writing anything down helps you remember it much better. Always test yourself on what you've learned to see if it really stuck. Example exam questions and past papers are probably the best way to study topics you've finished, as you're literally coming up against the style of question in the exam. Don't be afraid to ask teachers. They're literally paid to help you learn. Source: currently Oxford University applicant. I find that listening to music helps me to study. If I'm not, then I'm semi-concentrating on the world around me, which distracts me from my work. And if you're studying long term, then you could divide your breaks by when your albums end, if you choose to listen to entire albums. Have a 3,000 word paper due in a couple months? Count how many days you have left until it's due and divide it by the word count. 3,000 words 60 days equals a measly 50 words a day. Even when you stack a few different papers at once, you might end up only writing 100-200 words a day, which is nothing. Even better is to take off a couple days at the end solely for editing, so you are not writing up until the due date and can have some time to process what you want the paper to say efficiently. I'm in law school now and still write my papers this way. There's no better feeling than seeing a due date coming up and knowing you already have 2,500 words written while everyone panics around you. I find this applies to most things too. By the time you reach the measly goal, you're in the right mindset to work and can easily end up doing at least double of what you had planned. Develop a healthy sleep schedule. If you're not getting enough sleep, it's much harder to concentrate and work efficiently. If you haven't already, visit your school psychiatrist and do what you can to get tested for everything and anything. ADHD, ADD, OCD, ASD, anything. If there is a medication you can take to improve your study skills, it's more than worth it. I'm really bad at remembering things unless they're said in a silly way or written in different colors. I'd have my college roommate, you can have a friend or parent or sibling, say something important I needed in a silly voice or sing it to the tune of a song. I'd highlight my notes, or rewrite them in different colors. I'd use pink for all vocabulary words and definitions. Important dates I'd use green, etc. I don't know you, but I'll say what I'd tell my high school self. Stop procrastinating. Yes, the work is too easy, it's beneath you, and even if you manage to pass with decent enough grades to get into college, this waiting till the last second thing won't fly there. Get good at time management, finish work early, and do the readings at least twice without skipping words or lines. School ends faster than you think, but only if you pass all your classes. This may be niche, but for me it was figuring out my mental health. I had ADHD and an anxiety disorder all my life but never got diagnosed or even flagged. A lot of the tips in this thread are things I'd try to implement but fail to, and then end up in a cycle of self-hate. Sometimes, not always, the issue is deeper than just moving to the library and not binging Friends. Don't fear failure. One reason lots of kids struggle with school is the pressure, but there are many paths in life. 99% of them don't rely on how well you did at school, and all of them are good. Once you take the pressure off, you are more free to succeed however that looks to you. Study with your friends. Last year, my AP physics teacher did not know how to do physics such that he couldn't answer his own quiz questions. He'd probably get a 2 on the exam. Anyways, my friends and I would frequently hop on Discord to study together. I or one of my friends would screen share his paint in order to show the others how we did something. Ultimately, this helped 2 of the 3 of us pass the AP exam despite the unfortunate teacher. This is great advice. I always felt I cemented the information in my own mind when I was able to explain a concept or the process of an equation to a peer. I have been there. This is how I somewhat managed to achieve my minimum goals. 1. Got rid of distractions. 2. Picked better options when talking about having fun and relaxing. Sports and chilling versus drinking and drama. 3. Learn how to take breaks instead of studying non-stop because I was afraid of failing. With those 3 steps I naturally improved. I stopped wasting time and this allowed me to use this time on better ways to relax. Once your body and mind are feeling well, you'll be less stressed and learn better. Assuming that you have normal cognitive capacity and that your household environment is healthy, there is no magic tricks. Simplify and you will improve. The best thing the military ever taught me was how to learn. You need to figure out how you learn. I personally learn best by moving and experiencing. If I'm reading a textbook or manual, I try and walk around while doing it. If it's a physical thing, I do it over and over and over until it's a kind of mindless thing. If you're worried about failing, find ways to make yourself fail. You'll learn that failure isn't the end of the road. There's always another option. This goes for everything about studying, to life in general. Study. Take the test. If you get a B instead of an A, good. You know your weaker areas now and you know where to improve. If you get that A, great. Now keep studying. If you get an F, good. Now you know something didn't work, or that you have lots of things you get to learn now. The fact that you want to improve tells me you have the ability to do so. If you get an F, good. First time I've ever heard those words spoken in that order. At the end of the day, no matter which tricks you have at your disposal, succeeding at school takes a lot of hard work. There is useful advice in this thread, but you still have to buckle down and do it. I don't know the actual name of what it's called, so please excuse me, but you know how you learned please excuse my dear Aunt Sally for order of operations? Make up your own sentences or songs to remember lists or anything of the sort. The funnier it is, the easier to remember. This, seriously, helped me all through college. Those are actually called mnemonic devices. Make sure you're attending every class. Show up early if you can. If your school offers time to study or you have spares, utilize them. Work your butt off when you need to. Don't procrastinate. Wake up early so you're not drowsy for first block. Try and make the smartest kid in your class your competition. Push yourself, do be better than them. Study for 1-2 hours every night just reviewing everything you did in class that day. Take breaks while studying. Try to study somewhere that isn't going to get you sidetracked. No distractions. I went from a 65 average in my grade 11 year to a 90 average in my senior year. Just takes hard work and good focus. The fact that you want to improve is the first step. I can't really give advice based on personal experiences because I never really studied for exams in high school, but studies show that learning in the evening and before sleep greatly improves your ability to memorize the content. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't study during the day at all. Another study shows that writing the content down again yourself and making good looking notes help you memorize it a lot better as well. It's important to fully focus your brain on the studies. Turn off or put away any distractions like your phone, your PC or anything else. Set a time you have to focus on studying completely followed by a break. For example, 1 hour of studying and then a 15-minute break. Also, having enough sleep before the exam helps you focus during it. Honestly, I never studied once in high school and today is my move-in day at college. I'm about to get re-eamed. Make good study habits now. I type the notes I took in class. Rewriting or typing information forces you to read your materials. Doesn't mean you'll necessarily pay attention the first time you reread it, but it is a refresher in your mind. Plus, you can organize your notes, add a sidebar to add quiz questions for yourself, and a bunch of other things to enhance study tips. I then go through those notes the night before a test on a 20-minute rotation for each subject I had to study, with a 5-minute break between each 20 minutes. I only kept materials and rotation until I felt confident. I was always one of the top test takers, 90% or above. If you think you might have a learning disability, do not let it slide. Better to deal with it now and get the kind of teaching you need, assuming your school can provide at least some help. My workplace performance suffered for years after school because I never dealt with my ADD. Asking Reddit is awesome because it shows you want to improve. But ask a teacher or guidance counselor too. It will show initiative and any good professional teacher will give you advice worth more than our posts combined. Not least because they know you and we don't. In addition to salient points in this thread regarding distractions, phone, noise, people around you, etc. As you study, pause all along the way and ask yourself if you fully understood what you just read. If not, back up. Read it again and consider the points being made for a while before moving on. Precept on precept is the way to learn and retain the information. In 10, 20, 30 years, you will still be battling bad habits, poor discipline, ignoring your inner compass, being selfish, too stubborn to change, slow to forgive, so literally try forcing or faking it and doing every dorky thing people recommend that you find beneficial even if it's silly. Repetition builds routine, which builds strength. Discipline is earned and gained automatically if you keep at anything even small, regularly. Good luck to you and me and us all in following that. You will fail a ton and are not perfect. Finished anything is better than perfect and finished nothing. Do the long-term studying. Don't just try and cram all the notes into your brain the night before or the day of the test. Once you get the material, review it that very day at home, and every following day up until the day of your test. Now you do not have to review absolutely everything every day, mostly the stuff you feel is important. Just give yourself 30-60 minutes a day to study your material. Find your learning style. I didn't find this out until college, but everyone learns differently and schools just have to find a happy medium. For instance, I personally learn best with some sort of flashcards. Not all learning can be done this way, but where I can I try to make some for studying. Don't bother studying the morning or day off. At that point it's not really going to help you, will unnecessarily stress you out, and will only ease your conscience if you were already studying enough. Where possible, start studying the week before, starting hard and lowering the intensity as you get closer to the test. If you listen to music, find easy listening, classical, or ambient music that will give you rhythm without distraction. Finally, find a good place to conduct your studies, as home or restaurants can be distracting. Libraries are best, but a quiet cafe will work too. You want to limit your ability to get distracted. I struggled in high school because I had no incentive. As soon as I was studying for a degree to get the job I wanted, I cared much more. You're working for something, but at high school you're learning to be a well-learned person. Look for the reasons why you want to be well educated. Your teachers are there to help. If you don't understand something, just ask. You'll be amazed at how far that'll get you. If procrastination is an issue, as others have said, put your phone elsewhere and break the work down. Study or do homework for an hour, then relax for a little bit, 10-15 minutes. It'll be less daunting than doing hours upon hours of work consecutively. Setting deadlines is important too. If you know you have a test in a week, review 15-20% of the information each day, and the night before review any key concepts that you still don't fully understand. As for remembering information, find a friend or family member and tell them some interesting things from the material you're studying, or have them ask you questions. Teaching others is proven to improve recall. Hope this helps. Study for understanding instead of just memorizing crap. After you study each section, ask yourself, did I understand that? If not, go over it again. I want you to find something on YouTube you've never heard or seen before and frankly have little interest in. Something long with little to no production value and maybe just a calming voice at most. I want you to sit down, with headphones on, and do nothing but listen. And I mean really listen to whatever that is. Make yourself listen and only listen. Paying attention is hard now. Harder than ever for you kids. It's not all your fault, but not all anyone else's. Learning to be present in the process of absorption, even when you don't want to be or do, is probably the best thing I can teach anyone on their way to adulthood. Because adulthood is in a nutshell just that. Being there, and having to absorb, even if you don't want to. Talk to the student services office at your university. There are probably free academic support services available to you like tutoring or study labs. Get help with challenging courses before you feel behind. Skim the text chapters you're responsible for and make an outline out of the section headers. You can fill in details later, but at least you'll have the big picture. Make a list of vocabulary words and learn your definitions, especially in sciences. I cannot stress this enough. Whatever you're trying to learn, there's probably plenty of helpful infographics or videos online that could help you. YouTube and Google Images are your friends. Practice explaining concepts to a friend, classmate, or even just out loud to yourself. If you can't explain something simply, you haven't understood it yet. Albert Einstein. Dedicate zones to specific behavior. When you are at your desk, do nothing but study. It's okay to go browse Reddit, but do not do it at your desk. This helps train behavior, helps me at least to maintain focus. Isolate yourself from tech. Make flashcards and slowly eliminate the ones you've memorized. This last one is the most important thing. You have to want to achieve the goal you've set for yourself. Last year I spent a lot of time playing video games instead of schoolwork. So this coming year I'm getting rid of any and all distractions like that, and my main focuses are school and sports. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.